March 1976, and I am standing on the side of the road in Sicily next to my brand new Canadian boyfriend, MJ, with our thumbs out. I met MJ about a week ago in the Palermo train station. I've been hitchhiking across Europe by myself for 2 months, so I am thrilled to have a traveling companion, especially a man, because it feels a lot safer traveling as a couple. Now, hitchhiking across Europe was not the original plan. I went to college when I was barely 17, and I was proud of that until I dropped out. So I have come to Europe to escape my shame, but so far I still feel like a loser. But this white florist van stops to give us a ride, and the driver is Michelli, and he's handsome and swarthy and old, mid-30s. And we have this cheerful conversation in broken English, and he says, you should spend the night with my grandmother? And having a great experience with similar offers and hoarding our money to stretch our travel out as long as possible, we say, yeah, that would be great. So he takes us to his hometown, and we dump the van and get into his BMW. And he drives us around town and showing us off, kind of like a little mafia don. So we get to his grandmother's house, we drop off our backpacks, he's got a couple of friends there, and there's a big guy who's, dusky and handsome like him, and then a short, bald guy. And he says to the bald guy, take the car, get some gas, and bring back some food. And then he turns to MJ and I and says, we take you to see some caves where no tourists go. And MJ says, wow, we really like local stuff. So we're hiking to the caves, and Michelli says, during the war, these caves were used by the resistance, but now, just the mafia uses them. Gives us a little wink. Well, the entrance to the cave is small and low, and we have to get on our hands and knees, and suddenly, like a snapped twig startles a deer, I am very afraid. I am in the middle of nowhere with 3 strange men, about to go into an enclosed small space. And I say, you know what? I'm just gonna wait out here. Michelli is not happy, but he goes into the cave with MJ and the others, and they come back a short while later, and all smiles, everything's fine, and now I feel a little silly about my fear. Michelli says, time to mangiare. So we drive back down to the coastal flats and through town, which surprises me, but it's light outside, the mood is friendly, and the food is free. So we get to this estate in an orchard, and we go into this modest caretaker's cottage, and there's just a cot, a little kitchen area, and a table and chairs. And the bald guy must live here because he immediately busies himself with cooking. And the big guy, he pulls out a 5-gallon gasoline container full of homemade wine. And he fills iced tea glasses to the brim. And Michelli says, we drink to new friends, yes? And he laughs. Now, I am 18 years old. I do not know how to drink just to get a buzz and stop. So I am drunk in no time. Everybody's drinking, except the bald guy. After dinner, Michelli pulls his chair closer to me, and he takes my hand, and he starts talking to me, but I'm having a hard time concentrating. And then the big guy pulls his chair up next to me. And they start talking in Italian, and I can tell by their smiles and smirks, they're talking about me. So I get up to create a little space between us, but I'm slow and clumsy from the wine, and Michelli hooks his arm around my waist and pulls me onto his lap, and his hand slides down my butt and across my thigh. I push off and away from him, but the big guy pulls me onto his lap, and then he cups my breast with his hand. And I call out to MJ, make them stop touching me. MJ stands up and he says, it's late. We need to go back to town. It's pitch black as we all jump into the car. The bald guy starts driving. But even though I'm wasted, I know he is driving away from town. And that deer-like fear is back. And my adrenaline is pumping and my mind is screaming, where are they taking us? What is going on here? I'm in the front passenger seat. MJ is directly behind me. I reach my hand back and I squeeze his hard. He leans forward and he whispers in my ear, "Anne, they have to stop. When they stop, open your door and run." They stop. I open my door, but I am so drunk, I just fall out on the ground with my legs under the car. MJ grabs me under the arms and we run. But suddenly we're tumbling and falling. The road is up on a 10-foot high berm and we fall to the bottom of the ditch. The BMW doors fly open and the three Sicilian men come out and they start calling our names. At first it's Anne, MJ, but soon it's, "Where are you? We don't have time for this." And then we hear the car trunk pop open, and now there are flashlights. And MJ says, and Michele says, "No use hiding, we find you." But like a couple of moles, MJ and I just hug the dirt. Finally, we hear the car doors slam and the car drive away. And I start to get up, but MJ pulls me back down and whispers in my ear, "There are 3 men, but only 2 doors closed." So we huddle in the dirt for another 20 minutes, and finally we hear a car come back. We hear a single door open and close, and then drive away. Spooked, we stay in that ditch for another 45 minutes, and then we climb up on the road and we walk away from Michele's village until we find a small pension, and we wake up a very unhappy owner at 2:30 in the morning, pull the money and passports that are strapped to our body, and then fall into bed exhausted from wine, adrenaline, and fear. The next morning, we're hungover, and in the light of day, I say, "You know, maybe we overreacted. Maybe they were taking us to a disco or something." And MJ says, "Well, let's walk back, see if we can find the tire tracks." And I say, "Yeah, you know what? I'm missing my watch too, so we can look for that." So we walk back and we find some tire tracks and we find my watch and we walk out in the direction that the tracks are headed, and it goes nowhere, just the beach. They were not taking us home. They were not taking us to a disco. In all likelihood, they were going to rape me and murder us both. I feel the urge to puke. NJ abruptly sits on the ground and we stare at each other as we realize how close we have come to death. And then this wave of exhilaration sweeps over us. We had an adventure! I came to Europe because I thought I was weak, but I find I am strong. Even wasted, I am not a loser. I am invincible. Empowered, we march back to that grandmother's house. We get our backpacks, and 10 minutes later, we are standing on the side of the road in Sicily with our thumbs out.